How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do an exploration of the second map in Phase 10 called, I believe, North Peak National Park. I hope I've got that right. I'm going to skip to like when I'm at the gateway and everything just to save a bit of footage, but the setup I was running is the original Tayga, a goddamn horse. I was taking a maintenance trailer, I didn't even really know if I need it or not, I just thought as I'm setting off from here I may as well while the thought crossed my mind, and then yeah, taking another loaf as well. Again, one of them, I think it's the one I'm towing, like military colour loaf. It's in his like camo green at the minute. Yeah, I think that's got an autonomous winch on it, and then obviously got a pumpkin coloured loaf with me. Yeah, setting off. I don't even use that ferry, to be honest. It's not that I think it's a bad idea, but well, it's pretty good. They might implement it in future maps. But yeah, I just like cutting across here. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to cut out now to kind of head to the gateway. It's a pretty simple gateway to find. It's in, I believe, yesterday's video. So again, I just, instead of doing the footage of me driving all the way up there. So, kind of first impressions. I did nip through the gateway yesterday, and literally, I didn't drive anywhere. Just loaded up the gateway, kind of spanned the camera around, and then went back to this map. Yeah, you can see the Mac Defence there. That's the new truck we'll be getting, and yeah, that boat and on the trailer and that, I believe, is like going to be some kind of main contract where we're going to go and deliver that. So yeah, travelled through it, went kind of ghost mode because they're all kind of bunched together. Yeah, I've drawn some lines around the edge just to give you some idea. You can see the watchtowers. I think there might be 7 in total. I'm going to head to, yeah, like that way round, sort of anti-clockwise again. No, it's hard to say if it's like that'd be better or not. Just it's kind of the way I chose to go in the end. Thought I'll cut up the right hand side of the map. There doesn't seem that many watchtowers, and then at least I'll get my bearings a little bit, and then as I kind of zigzag back down the left, well, that was the plan anyway. Didn't necessarily go that way. But again, I purposely don't look at these maps, no videos on it or anything like that, so I really am going in blind. The most I hear is like, I get little tips and stuff from the comments, or just at least a heads up that there's a garage somewhere on the map, etc. But yeah, as far as actually seeing it, I kind of, yeah, do these videos blind really. As I was driving down here, it's just the first watchtower. I mean, you can see it off in the distance. There's not really, it's sort of the same story with a lot of watchtowers on this map, and I'm not strictly knocking it. Yeah, they're not really kind of like just nip off the road. In the end, put it this way, I definitely don't regret bringing the other loaf with me as well, just because, as you'll see kind of throughout the night really, the Tayga's obviously decent. I like that this swamp, they haven't just coded it to be complete like death swamp mud, because then you just avoid it. It's like, oh, it's just somewhere I won't drive. But the Tayga was actually moving quite nicely. Yeah, I just edited there, for example. I tried to go up those trees, it just not a chance. Like the Tayga's fairly nimble and all the rest of it, and it's got nice steering as far as that goes, but yeah, it's not going to squeeze through the trees like the goddamn horse. And yeah, with this video I was hoping it'd be a bit shorter, but it's like the first half was not bad, and then the second half sort of feels pretty long. That's what she said. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'd say 30 minutes in I kind of got quite a bit done. It's not really that it dragged at the end, I don't know, you just kind of zigzag around a little bit more. But yeah, it was one of them where I kind of nipped through. I've run out of clips. I've got 50 out of 50, so I'd have to render the video just to possibly nip like 5 seconds out of footage here and there, and to be honest, I'll end up burning another like 2 hours just to do that, just to save a minute of footage. And I don't really think, and then I'll just completely fall behind with the video. I am at, time is it now, 20 to 8. Yeah, so when I got nearer though with this Tayga, I could obviously uncovered a little bit of the map, so I could sort of see there wasn't a proper road as such, but again, yeah, I just knew if I sent it around this way at least, because on this map there's quite a few sort of cliff edges really, where yeah, obviously you ain't driving up them. So, and again, I'm not knocking it. It's actually in some previous phases, going around and getting a couple of watchtowers is kind of a formality. You're going to get on the map, you're going to drive to a couple of them and whatnot. Obviously the first map on Phase 10 was, I think, yeah, 10 odd watchtowers. That was pretty involved. And then this one as well, there's 7. It doesn't even look... You don't really appreciate that it's 7 when you first look. You sort of, off the top of your head, think, oh, it's about 5, maybe 6. But yeah. And again, they're not necessarily, you know, just as simple as like drive along a main road and it's 20 metres off the road or anything. So it does actually... like I say, it's a bit awkward for me with the editing because I'm doing it blind. I don't really know when I'm setting off necessarily what the footage is going to be, how long it's going to take, etc. And even though it is a bit more awkward, say on these maps with the editing, it's a bit more involved. Like considering it's sort of a one-off event, you get on the map once, you uncover it once. I don't think it's a terrible thing to have more watchtowers and have them kind of, harder to reach location. I mean, this one's sat on top of a cliff edge, really, so you sort of got to go the long way around. So far, those views, it's a nice looking map. I definitely prefer the first map, but in its defence, I really do like the first map, so you'd have to pull something pretty special out of the bag to top that, and I kind of was assuming it wasn't gonna. So obviously originally I was going to just keep heading along that road, but as I was looking, there's no point really, because now once I'm over this side, it's easier basically. I was going to jump the Tayga off that cliff and back down here, but the back road out of like the watchtower cliffs is kind of the best way to go in the end, so I just kind of figured I might as well send the Lo4f in. Again, I mean, you can see him flying along this swamp. He drives fine in this sort of stuff, unless they just code it as like super/death mode, which I'm glad, they haven't, because it's actually quite nice to sort of drive around one of these without being forced to go half a mile an hour. And then, I mean, partly principle, he's a goddamn horse. Partly just because, I mean, that's what I would have done. It's funny, because when I split the group up, I actually sent the Tayga in for this, and normally I'd send in the Lo4f. I learned pretty quickly. Should have just sent it in the Lo4f. Nipped up here, quick edit there, but I was just kind of swung sideways on that tree, so bit of reversing. Really, I could have gone a bit wide around to the right and not kind of forced myself to use that winch, but to be honest, I mean, I've been looking at the TV and doing stuff, but I feel like I've not been paying the most attention tonight. And I was getting a little bit distracted. The cat as well, for whatever reason. Normally actually goes and lies down, and then makes an appearance now, which he just has, but he's been kind of floating around all night. I could have gone round to the left here, but I just wanted to I've always said the Lo4f is a beast at climbing rocks, and considering overall these rocks are nearly as tall as him, and I've got to bump both wheels up the each ledge of the rock at the same time, really, just because of the what the hell's the word? Mine's just gone blank. I don't know. The distance between the wheels. Well, there you go. I mean, get on the Lo4f. He climbs, and to be fair, most trucks would have struggled pretty harsh / not made it up there. Oh yeah, it's still the first watchtower. I just figured the Lo4f made it up there. Deserves a treat. See, it's funny because I was probably dicking around more in the first half of this video. It feels like the first half was quicker. I think I need to go and bring could have a possible Lion King moment on top of there. Go and drag a forklift down here. But the road, I may as well just loop round and follow it out. I was really tempted to jump off the cliffs, if nothing else, just for the fun of it. I was like, I've got at least one Lo4f with an autonomous winch, so I'm 1,000,000% getting out of it. It's just when I was looking on the map, I was like, objectively it makes more. I'll end up jumping off the cliff and probably, if anything, adding a little bit more distance to where I've got to drive. Although, to be fair, that swamp at the bottom wasn't too bad to drive through. This road's getting a little bit rough. This map's definitely, I'd sort of say, dials it up a bit. It's funny because the first map looks like it could be every bit as rough, and there is certain places where it is. But overall this one feels more, back end of nowhere. It's not really very lived in or anything. I'd say it's supposed to be objectively kind of harder and less. It doesn't flow around the map as nicely, but again, we'll see. I'm not. First impressions are not bad. Like I say, it was going to struggle to ever top the first map anyway. And yeah, beyond that, I don't dislike it really. Sometimes I remember Northern Aegis installation was a good example where it drove me completely mad getting the watchtowers because there were so many dead ends and going back on yourself. And again, just from an editing and footage perspective, it's not as nice or smooth or anything that way. But then once I'd actually explored the map, I mean, it was one of them I didn't spend ages on, and obviously it was a very slow, sort of drawn out map, so it's not one you just casually go on to float around messing around for an hour. But yeah, that map did kind of, I warmed to it quite a bit compared to like the first impressions of it. So I don't always let the what palaver unfolds as I go to do the watchtowers necessarily to kind of give me a full indication of how the maps are going to play out. I mean, it's just like these dirt roads, for example. There's a lot more dirt roads where, you know, it's actually boggy and you do sink down into it. I'd say more overall on the first map, what's it called, Duncan Bay, is yeah, kind of like this really, where it's technically a dirt road, but there's not that much give in the mud, so you can plough along pretty nicely. I think, yeah, the mud's actually, because I put the muds on this Tayga. I went through them. I built this Tayga. It was a freshly bought one in my garage. Yeah, I could have put the chained on. It's a hard one to say, to be honest, because there's definitely elements of this map where I'd have probably preferred the chain just because of all these sort of muddy bits. I'd say these muds particularly, I think, yeah, not quite as good as the chain through this sort of stuff, but these sit wider and obviously they've got, yeah, overall it's kind of, you got to pick a lane really. Yeah, I mainly went for these because of how wide they sit, and considering this map's a little bit bumpy and rough and twisty and all the rest of it, probably not a bad idea, to be honest. I could probably afford to bleed a mile an hour or two in muddy places like this for the amount of times I don't roll it. So there's a little tiny glitch there. I got one or two, nothing too crazy, but yeah, not really a lot I can do about it. You've got out of this boggy section. I think as well with this next watchtower coming up, it's kind of up in the trees and cliffs and all the rest of it. And yeah, when there's cliffs there, I can send in the loaf, but I've got to kind of zigzag around the cliffs. There's not, well, in theory, I bet actually, I never really tried, but technically I could drive up to the cliff face. If there's a tree at the top, I can winch to that and climb up. To be honest, I should have. It never even crossed my mind to attempt it. I'm sure at some point, though, as there is quite a few cliffs on this map, the opportunity may present itself. Yeah, to be fair, that looks sort of sharper than it looks, but I was going to say it's little bits like this where the chain did kind of tear through here a bit better, but I think I would have beached there anyway. The Tayga's got a pretty nice, short, compact nose, and I've put the sort of best bumper on that sits the highest, and it's still face planted pretty good there. It bleeds all its power there. I've noticed that sort of, not to a crazy degree, but there's a few times I've noticed it recently where the game just seems to take a little extra half a second or something to decide what gear it wants, and once or twice if you're on a bit of a steep hill I've noticed you sort of roll back then, and then the game kind of waits again for you to, if you roll in a little bit in reverse, it kind of doesn't want to go in first necessarily. So yeah, sort of dab the handbrake and it's solves it. Again, yeah, with this one you can see cliffs. I'm pretty much at the edge of the map, but I could kind of tell for now it's probably best on just to keep heading sort of north, follow that road, and fingers crossed there'll be a little route working the way up there. There it is somewhere behind the sunlight. And yeah, we had a crash. Switch to the wrong loaf. Yeah, like I say, this one's got an autonomous winch, which is shorter and all the rest of it, but it's like guaranteed rescue. The only bit I edited out there, I was trying to flip the loaf and the Tayga in one, but I was ending up turning the loaf, and I didn't really want then it'd be sat sideways in the sideboard, so I essentially scrapped that idea and just stuck a winch to the Tayga. I was like, sod it, I'll just flip it. Well, it worked out as a good little opportunity, and then as I'll explain in a second, as you can see, I mean, the loaf, even trying to sort of pull uphill and all the rest of it, flips the Tayga, no problem. And then, yeah, I ended up leaving this in as like purely unedited because I've not actually done it on video for a while, and someone asked me about a week or so ago, how do I get the loaf in the sideboard if I haven't got a crane or anything? And yeah, even though I've not tried this in a while, it was sort of, I put a winch to the middle of, say, the Tayga in this case, the middle of the loaf, like the highest end if it's laying on its side, drive forward, and it just kind of tilts it like so. Its back wheels will then pop up over the sideboard. And yeah, I think this bit of footage, like completely unedited, is about a minute. And considering, I mean, faff around for 10-15 seconds or whatever, trying to get the right winch point. So yeah, all in all, I mean, I'm having a good old time anyway. I'm not really fussed, but it's not the worst drain on time, considering I've now got an extra 200 fuel and 300 repair points and that on my Tayga. And yeah, there you go. Job's a good one. Get yourself a loaf. That's how he jumps into a sideboard without a crane. He's trained for these situations. It's a pretty good emergency deployment loaf, but if there's no crane to emergency deploy him, he has other means. And yeah, at this point it's like, well, it's not exactly looking like there's going to be, you know, just a road driving you right up to there. So I decided to cut the loaf up through these trees and zigzag around the cliffs. Overall, I don't regret it. It was just, as far as getting the footage, the camera just keeps flying around through the trees, and the footage was pretty terrible. So from that point of view, I wasn't too keen on it. But again, like from just climbing the loaf up a cliff and all that, I mean, you can see there the camera's kind of in the trees, and then when I get near there, the camera's hitting the cliff, and yeah, doing a bird's eye view and all that. It was just a bit crazy. As far as actually driving up there, only took me, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, maybe not even that. But yeah, like I say, it was just the camera's going all over the place, and it was sort of just that was driving me mad more than anything. The actual loaf though performed his duties, and yeah, overall it was pretty handy, because then once I uncover the watchtower, I can then see the road that, in theory, it was planning for me to do. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but maybe this map, maybe it would be worth going around clockwise, because so far I'm almost like, when I get to the watchtower, the road leading to it is on the other side, if that makes sense. So maybe if I went around the opposite way, I'd kind of keep approaching the roads that lead up to the watchtowers. Yeah, once we did that, we uncovered an upgrade. And so basically I'm going to go with a loaf to the upgrade and then cut across, yeah, towards, you can see, like the left hand screen, and then meet the Tayga and the loaf back up kind of on the road further down. It was funny seeing one of these bridges. When I've said before, just the, I don't know, 5 or 6 times I've kind of, sometimes accidentally, sometimes on purpose, got air off a bridge. It's always them ones. There's loads of those around sort of near where I live, and yeah, it happens from time to time. But it was just quite, it was quite nice to see a bridge like that. Bring back fond memories. Games, like, not today game. I trained in panic winch. I think my loaf's like a black belt in panic winch these days. So I sort of drove past it then, and I was like, oh, that's the road I need to go up. But then as I was looking on the map, I thought, by the time I bring the loaf back across and go to that watchtower, there's not really a main road. I may as well come back to this road. So then at that point, I was like, well, I may as well sort of leave the Tayga where it is, really, because I'm just going to end up doubling back on myself. Yeah, so I'm sort of driving the opposite way at the minute. I'm just going to quickly grab this upgrade. It ends up being, it's called something Fuel Miser. It's an engine for the Mac Defense, which I assume is a top engine. I'll get that hopefully probably tomorrow, actually. I found the truck as I was going around tonight and everything. It doesn't seem to be a particularly crazy mission. I think you've got to like fix and fuel it and tow it somewhere. So yeah, I'll probably get that done tomorrow. Just then, that's sort of the truck unlock video and this upgrade location. I suppose yeah, there's been 2 upgrades now, hasn't there, for the Mac Defense? I think I found one kind of just south of the garage on Duncan Bay. By the way, sorry, I just did a quick edit there. All it was is from where I got that upgrade back to the watchtower is there on my left. Again, didn't really want to. It was only like nothing wrong with the footage. It was just I was at like 59 minutes and something at that point. You're driving along here. There's a few little patches of mud you hit, which is just odd in the sense of normally the higher you kind of go up in elevation, you don't really hit muddy patches as much. It's more, you know, kind of at ground/swamp level that goes on. But for whatever reason, even up in these mountain tops and all the rest of it, it's yeah, pretty boggy. I suppose there is a river thing going on right there. Look at the Lo4f, he does like a little jump, then a wheelie, and he does his Ferrari badge impression. Trying to tempt them into a cease and desist. I think Lo4f would go full Ferruccio Lamborghini or whatever his name is. Just made an entire car company to spite Ferrari. You gotta respect it. Well, from what I heard, Lamborghini was a tractor maker. It's obviously fairly wealthy. He bought a Ferrari, clutch kept going in it, he kept taking it back to Ferrari, and they just kept going like, well, you know, it's a finely tuned race car, they're pretty delicate. He got annoyed with it, so he put a tractor clutch in the Ferrari, and it worked and was more durable, so he went back to Ferrari saying like, see, you should let me put the clutches in or whatever, or something like that, just saying these clutches are better, and they were like, yeah, no, we know what we're doing. So then he got annoyed and went and started Lamborghini to be competition for Ferrari, which again, yeah, hats off. That's a level of stubbornness I can respect. Versus Ferrari, that send cease and desist letters to everybody that, I don't know, paints a car a colour they don't like, even though they bought it. Annoyingly though, there's a few of my favourite cars probably in the world are Ferraris. Like a Ferrari 288 GTO. That's a nice car. And like an F40, all that sort of stuff, but yeah. So yeah, this was the watchtower that really, I suppose, the way the map was originally orientated, I think like up in the top right. I kind of keep spinning the map round a little bit. It's just because it's easier, like putting the dots down, because you're going like cliffs and stuff in the way. It's sort of, yeah, easier to adjust it that way. Basically, just south of here, there's a truck that I thought might possibly be the Mac Defense. So I start heading towards it. Well, I do head towards that. Yeah, it was false alarm. It's just a bit of bait. It's Fleet Star, I think, in the end. And as you can see throughout some of this footage as well, the Lo4f, I've probably ended up driving the Lo4f more than the Tayga really, but I mean, he's a goddamn professional. He's doing his job. Like, I think overall it was the best thing to take, because here, there and everywhere I keep hitting like patches of trees where it's bloody handy to the Lo4f's like, yeah, steering of a house flying, to just nip through them and all the rest of it. And once you can sort of put your foot down, as you can see, like the Lo4f isn't slow. It's not rapid, but it's even funny when I was doing them rally videos like a couple of years ago, doing runs through Northport and all sorts. The Lo4f is only like 20 seconds slower than the Tayga or something. In fact, I don't even think it was that much. It was a lot less than I thought. I figured it'd be like a minute slower or something, but it's kind of one of them where it's not the fastest, but it's very consistent because it's so precise with the steering and all the rest of it. You don't really waste time boating around on the roads and all the rest of it. The Tayga, although it was quicker, sort of, when it was able to wind up in speed, it started drifting off off the road and all the rest of it, and yeah, that was kind of burning a little bit of time. And this road's a little bit rough down here, not the end of the world, but as I say, it's a trip I didn't particularly need to make in the end. See that now that it wasn't the Mac defense, I was like, oh no, why do this to me, game? So looks like, nope, not interested. But essentially what I'm doing, once I get back to the top of this road just up there, I'm essentially doing the same trip. Once I left the watchtower, kind of cutting through the trees, I'm basically heading back to a main road, and then at that point, I'll end up being just ahead of the Tayga, so I'll drive the Tayga like down the road and meet them back up again. So I mean, places like this, there's not really like a proper way from where I am with the loaf back to the main road, but yeah, it's a perfect example though. If I was with the Tayga, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to go some kind of long way round, or have a nightmare trying to squeeze through these trees. I honestly didn't even see that tree. I don't know why. It's pretty well camouflaged though. And we're back. So I'm only reversing the Tayga now. I parked it here when the footage last ended, but just to the bit I cut out, I turned right up that road, drove a truck length, and was like, oh yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, essentially, keep following along the road. I kind of had a feeling that there was going to be something going on here, because the last watchtower I got was kind of over here. The next watchtower is right on the other side of the map, so I sort of figured whatever's going on in the middle is probably, yeah, going to be like a big lake or something, judging from like the thumbnail, etc. But there's only one way to find out. Start heading that way and see what happens. See, Loaf's coming in for a little Loaf boost. Gives me a nudge on the sideboard. And then now the Loaf's bogged down in the mud. You see? Teamwork makes the dream work. See, again, it's places like this that I think the chained bite through a little bit better. And yeah, I think it was kind of, again, this first half of the video, and that seemed to, I felt like I got quite a lot done in this amount of time. I mean, that being said, it's kind of like the first 30 minutes of a video should feel about as long as the second 30 minutes of a video, but just overall, and it wasn't really from being forced to go like this slow or anything. I think it was just more, yeah, a bit of doubling back on myself, sort of zigzagging all over, and that. Still stuff going on. So you can already see now, like on the horizon really, that there's a giant lake, so I was assuming, yeah, unless there's a way to cut across right at the top, which you could already sort of see now in the distance, there isn't really. Yeah, basically there's a giant fat lake, kind of cuts right down the middle of the map really. So instead of, even though I tried going, say, round in an anti-clockwise direction to get all the watchtowers, yeah, you essentially hit this lake, and I almost need to. It's not that bad because there is kind of a road to follow back down, but essentially drive down and round under the lake and over to the other side of the map. Because yeah, I'm not getting over that way. Which it makes sense now. Someone did say in the comments, like, that ferry that they've put on the first map, they should have put on this map really and let us travel across the lake, which yeah, would have made a lot more sense. And like they said, is it'd be worth paying $750 or whatever. Whereas on the first map, again, I think they might just be testing the concept with the first map. But I do absolutely agree, they could have tested it twice and just put one on the second map. Apologies, a little glitch there. Just as I was turning left, it glitched like a tiny bit down the road. There's not really anything missed, but still, it's just annoying because it makes the footage look a bit tatty. Yeah, there was a service area kind of just down the road as well, so I thought I'll quickly spin through here. I was curious because I'd already used some of the repair points from the Lo4f. I just wanted to double check that it'd top your repair points up, which it does, but it won't top your roof rack fuel up. But it didn't really matter, I've already got plenty of fuel. At that point, I think I went and made something to eat. I was only throwing it out there because I'm 1,000,000% certain I turned the Tayga engine off. To the point I even remember specifically going, oh yeah, I'll just check I've turned the Tayga engine off. But then when I put the channel back over to this and that, it said my Tayga was out of fuel. Do you know what, actually thinking about it, I bet I'd hit my remote. Yeah, I bet that's what happened, and I started the engine, and all I was going to mention is, you know how like when an engine's running on this game, normally after a minute or two it cuts out the engine? I'm going to go on a limb and assume that it didn't, and it just kept running my Tayga until it ran out of fuel. So just throwing that out there on the off chance. It didn't really bite me because I did have the goddamn horses with me, but if I didn't, yeah, I'd have been in a bit of trouble there because I was just, that's it. No fuel, wouldn't even be able to start or crawl a few meters. Lo4f, just go back to your wheels, man. We got stuff to do. I mean, another reason why it's not too bad in the end is as you head kind of back down here, you're essentially heading into like what would be the town, and there's a fuel station there, which is nice. At least you can get topped up and all the rest of it. Yeah, I wanted to veer off to the left really, but one, I kind of wasn't paying enough attention, and two, I thought I may as well go and grab this bridge mission. Yeah, driving like now, I've got a circle around the lake. This bridge is out, and there is technically another smaller, windier road that heads down the map, but that's also got some kind of roadblock on it. It's not the end of the world. I already looked on the map and could kind of see which way I was going to go. Don't mind me here. I don't even know. I was just reversing with a Lo4f. I wasn't even really thinking about which way I've got to go. It's a bit of Lo4f helping me do some kind of Michael Jackson Thriller tribute. Yeah, you're best off kind of cutting down here. Even though there's a bridge there, if you just veer off enough this way, it kind of flattens off enough to where you can actually drive over. Worst case, I'd have been doing cliff diving or probably a bit of scuba Lo4f action. Would have just gone in the lake and gone that way. I mean, strictly speaking, it ain't worth it, but I probably could travel across that lake with scuba Lo4f. There'll be some way of getting it done. If I ever get bored enough and I've got a bit of time to spare. The nice thing is though, there is eventually a garage on this map, so yeah, at least you can just, you know, spawn vehicles, recover them without all the faffing around. I do like that. And like I said, to a degree, if they make a map and they don't want there to be a garage on it, put the garage right at the gateway so it makes no difference. I mean, if you imagine something like Zimnegorsk, just the garage being on Zimnegorsk is handy, but it doesn't really... You can spawn at the garage or you could travel through the gateway. Like, it just makes life a little easier, but I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make the completing the game easier as in that sense. It's just less, yeah, faffing around really. I'd say overall this has got to be like a half decently sized map too, because, you know, even sort of cutting down this lake, if for example this map was the size of like Factory Grounds, I'd have probably done like a whole lap of it by now. Which, yeah, about now I'm probably like at the bottom of the lake, basically. And I know there is a fuel station around here somewhere. Well, it's another good example actually. The map's pretty big because as I drove into the town now, I've already been driving through the town, you know, a little bit, and I kind of thought, where is this fuel station? Quite a lot further down here, considering it looks like it's just down the road. It's not that place either. Again, tiny little glitch there, apologies, but it's probably a truck length, if that. And we've made it. Yeah, it worked out quite nice, kind of halfway through the video really. Bit of juice for the Tayga. Top up my loaf and his roof rack. Which, yeah, I put in the Tayga because I ran out of fuel. Go for a victory horn. Stop signs, and I took that personally. Damn, a bit over dramatic. Should have asked me to stop. Oh wait. Yeah, now I'm going to head down. I'm essentially going back to near the gateway. But it's worth it because as I head that way, one, I'm going past where a mission called Stuck Truck is, and that is the Mac Defense 917 or whatever it's called. And then also, yeah, it just seems to be like a better road to then start heading over to the watchtower that is in the bottom left of the map. And you see at this point, now I'm nearer here, there is some tarmac roads going on. You can drop the hammer a little bit. Yeah, the Mac Defense is actually... I need to swerve off to the right now into the swamp somewhere around here. I forgot at this point. You might even be able to see it in the background, like somewhere over there. Yeah, I just forgot. I was having a good old time. Well, I remember about now. I was like, oh god damn it. Just drove right past it. So, yeah. Disconnect the loaf, I'll be back. Look how much the loaf blends in. Can you even see him? I told you, he's in his military camo on. Just went full on like predator modes of camouflage then. Yeah, it's one of these little islands over to the left now. And even though I'm going to follow the island, I'm not saying I want to drive like directly through the swamp, but again, it's nice that they've, you know, not just made this a complete half-mile-an-hour bore fest as you try and cut your way through. It's pretty fair on the old swamps. Especially, I mean, if I brought a highway truck or one of the weaker trucks, starter truck, something like the Fleet Star, I could understand. But yeah, when you got like the best trucks in the game, that's how quick I want to be flying over a swamp. Yeah, here it is. I'm faffed around, but I will get through the gap. Yeah, Stuck Truck I think it's called. And it wants me to tow it up to there, and then I've also got to fix and fuel it. Obviously I'm not doing it now, I just to quickly have a look, get it on video, show you where the location is. After driving right past it and forgetting it, and grab the loaf and we're off to the next watchtower. Yeah, thought I'd get for not paying attention. I've been keep zoning out tonight. I spent like an hour earlier thinking, preparing, planning. If aliens turned up and then they asked me what's going on with the world, I'd tell them some real stuff, some true stuff, you know, like, I don't know, the sky's blue, grass is green, 9/11 was an inside job. But then every now and then, just throw some complete bollocks in there, like, just say, oh yeah, and when we turn 40, we shit out a baby elephant for no apparent reason. We're not really sure why, you should probably look into it. And if you see anybody celebrating their 40th birthday and they don't shit out a baby elephant, they're lying about their age. And then, I was thinking, like, aliens have got a bit of a reputation for going around anal probing everybody. But I haven't even told them the baby elephant thing yet. But then what if I told them in the future, and they're able to travel back in time, so then they start doing it because of that? And then some poor redneck called Dale was trying to explain to his mates that he just got abducted and anal probed. And they ask him why, and he says, I don't know. They said they were looking for a baby elephant. No one's going to believe him, because why would you? Meanwhile, he's adamant They go around probing so many asses. They should be called fucking aliens. And yeah, I could have inadvertently started Roswell and everything. So you see, that's why I wasn't paying attention to something as insignificant as a Mac defense truck. I had far more important things to worry about. So yeah, I probably won't tell them that in the end. Yeah, this is the next watchtower, kind of another one. Yeah, sort of up in the middle of nowhere, but it's actually not that difficult to cut through. The trees aren't that dense this time, so there's a few little patches. You can see there is a longer wiggly road going up there, I suppose, but yeah, I decided I'm gonna have to send in the loaf again. It's a little footage glitch there, but yeah, I think there's a couple of cliffs kind of lining it, so in the end I kind of headed this way, not fully round to the well, connected back up with the road. Took a little bit of a shortcut. Housefly steering engaged. Bit too much. I'd climb over them rocks for fun. See, trying to just showing you, he's capable of leaning without tipping over. It's nice to know these things. There's one watchtower on this map, I was just thinking about it. It's kind of, I think it's the next watchtower after this. You don't really need to get it. I don't really see what it uncovers. It's kind of like all the other watchtowers have basically, yeah, uncovered like all around it. And then really at the end of the, after I get the last watchtower, there is actually like, it's essentially where the lake starts coming down into the map. Like the top middle of that is still covered up. They could have done really with moving one of the watchtowers, like the pointless one, sort of, yeah, just further north on the map. In the end, I mean, I've edited out this video because it was just, it would have been too long otherwise. That's what she said. But I sent a different Tayga and OG Lo4f and a radar trailer, and I went and uncovered the last little bit. Yeah, this is this watchtower though. Yeah, this is the way like I originally had the map orientated. So no, it's not the next watchtower, it's the one after that. You can kind of see the one that's on the right. By the time I get the next watchtower, there's not anything really in the middle of the map that even needs uncovering. I mean, possibly if I'd done the watchtowers in a different order, well, it still proves the point that one way or another, it ends up being a pretty pointless watchtower, really. Thankfully, it's practically no different to go and get. Yeah, I could have followed the road back. I thought it. Super Mario jump time. I mean, absolutely nailed it. Hit the tree, stuck the landing, and we're good to go. And then I realised, oh, we've got more cliffs. That tree. Looks like showing them aliens. Yeah, well, if that tree had some kind of Lo4f ass fetish, then he's living the dream right about now, because did some kind of wrestling manoeuvre, flung himself sideways, flew off the cliff, and just, yeah, rear-ended that tree for the ages. What's the matter with it, yeah. Bit of a vendetta against it. Told you some of these trees make it on the list. Must have recognised that one from a previous map. Probably went into witness protection. They put it on this map, but he knows. Yeah, I think it was there. It was a perfect example of as the saving cogs happened and I got like a frame rate freeze. It completely did it like just as I swerved my steering, so it didn't apply any of it, and I just went flat out straight into those rocks. And yeah, the Lo4f, not just the Lo4f engine spinner, I've noticed, I'd say recently, when you take engine damage or even gearbox damage, I think, or is it just me, but like for example the engine's turned red, it seems to do that a bit quicker. And then I also noticed the other day when I damaged a gearbox on something that it actually, even though it wasn't like really close to the gearbox being completely destroyed, it was already in the red. And it kept kicking me into neutral, even though it doesn't normally do that when you've still got like a third health left or whatever. So I've got a feeling they might have tweaked that a little bit as well. And yeah, now I obviously drove the Lo4f back down to the road, met the Tayga back up with it. It was just a pretty brief drive up the road. Yeah, I kind of forgot that. I was just driving along with the Lo4f again, sort of in my own little world. I started towing the Tayga with the Lo4f, which I would have happily carried on, to be honest, but kind of realised that wasn't the original plan. I just quickly stopped there and saved the footage. I think I was alright in the end, but I couldn't remember when I last saved it. I didn't want to lose like 1 5-minute patch of footage in the middle of the video, kind of, especially with an exploration video. It's kind of impossible to retrieve anything at that point. Yeah, those trees on the road snagged me pretty good that time. For the most part, I've not really been an issue, but yeah, that one, for whatever reason, got me. Towards the end as well, yeah, I kept picking up little random bits of damage like that, which is not the end of the world, but I just sort of noticed, to be fair, the Lo4f, unless you've got like the winch length where I'm kind of towing him behind like a wrecking ball and he's bouncing all over the place, the Lo4f is actually really good for not taking damage when you're towing it along like that. So the fact that even the Lo4f was picking up little bits there, the certain rocks and that, there's a few little places on the map. I hit something else earlier where there wasn't really anything there at all. I just drove onto like a patch of grass, there was no tree stumps or anything, and both my truck and the Lo4f took a hit as well. So yeah, there's a few little areas that seem to be very oversensitive to, as soon as you touch it, it kind of damages your truck, even though there doesn't really appear to be anything in particular you've hit. Like, not even like roots that they've kind of buried here, there and everywhere or anything. Although, to be fair, consider how many muddy patches there is in this map, they haven't gone insane on the roots. I did hit patches here and there where they've gone a little bit mad, but they haven't just carpet bombed the entire map with them, which is nice, because again, they're not quite as bad as tree stumps. They feel a little bit more organically trollish, you kind of, yeah, but nonetheless, they're a little bit, you know, once you've run over 100 of them, you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And yeah, worked out again. Send in the goddamn professional. Take the zip round these little rock cliffs. Squeeze his way through the trees. You just can't stop him. Housefly turning for the win. Don't like doing my 3-point turns if I can help it. That's one thing I do like about this game. If you're flooring it and you turn, and obviously there's a certain speed it'll turn or whatever, but then if you start blipping the throttle, it does tighten the turning circle, which is bloody handy here and there. Because if you kind of aim for everything at full throttle, knowing roughly what your steering's going to be, at least if you overshoot it and that, you've got room to kind of plan B before you fully have to do a 3-pointer. Today game, it wanted my Lo4f. I mean, look at him go. I'll drop him high at some point. I didn't even need to, just for my own satisfaction that he can. Yeah, Watchtower shoot. Probably, is it only Watchtower number 5? It must be if there's only 7 on the map. Feels like it's more than 5 by now, but. Yeah, can you see that watchtower? Again, I didn't leave loads of footage in because I was sort of struggling to keep this video under 60 minutes, but it doesn't really do much of anything. So at this point, yeah, I ended up, or at least for now, leaving the Lo4f. Did I leave the Lo4f or did I cut him down the hill? Do you know what, actually? Sorry, I take that back. I did cut him down the hill. I cut the footage out. I've kind of slightly doubled back on myself, only a few truck lengths really. I'm now going over to this pointless watchtower that's kind of everything around it's already uncovered anyway. then going back to, say, the main road I was just on with the Tayga, essentially just a little bit further up the road from where I was facing. And I think I met back up with the Lo4f. Oh no, in fact, even, again, losing my marbles, I did meet back up with the Lo4f. I drove the Lo4f there, but I think I just drove right past it, and again was just zoned out in my own world. But just a tiny little bit further up the road, I found the garage and a fuel station and everything. The garage, you don't even need to do a mission to unlock. As soon as you just drive up to it and drive into like the garage square, it says garage discovered. So it worked out pretty nicely, because then I just hit recover on the Lo4f, jumped into the garage, joined him back up with the Tayga. This tree as well, it decided for no reason it was in my way. Pretty nice view, that one. It's basically the entire lake. I suppose if nothing else, gives you a good view of that. It's funny as well, because driving this Tayga tonight, part of the reason I brought this Tayga is I know the steering's pretty nice and responsive as far as trucks go. It's got a pretty nice tight turning circle and a bit of a rapid reaction time, like when you steer it actually steers. Yeah, because the little top part of the map was not uncovered, so I took, like I said, the Tony the Tayga, an OG Lo4f, and yeah, the turning circle on that Tayga is horrific by comparison, and just doing that last little trip, yeah, you kind of appreciate a truck with good steering afterwards. I mean, Tony the Tayga is a solid vehicle, and on various maps, you don't even, like, maps that have sort of got longer sweepy roads, you don't really notice it. Albany River, for example, it was great on that map. But yeah, tonight it was just going wide as hell on all the corners. We're getting close, but like I said, now the video's at 52 minutes, and there's not a crazy amount I could edit out. Well, yeah, I've run out of clip things, so I can't even, like, nip into clips and all sorts. And there probably was a minute here and there at the nearer the start of the video that I was faffing around a little bit. But I was doing well for time then, you see, because I was sending the Lo4f everywhere. See, start sending the Tayga. There's nothing against it, but it just seems to take longer. And there, by the way, I know it looks like I've got the vision skills of Stevie Wonder. Someone just pulled up on my drive, nothing to do with me, but you know, just when you're like, who the fuck is that at 6 in the morning? So I wasn't looking at TV. I was still squeezing the throttle, but I was looking out my window. So yeah, I just absolutely went flat out into that tree and bounced off it. And yeah, I believe this was the point where, I'm sure somewhere along here, there's supposed to be a goddamn horse. Again, because I clipped the footage out. I know he's close though, can sense it. But yeah, I ended up finding the garage and that, so it worked out pretty nicely. I think I might have just caught a glimpse of him in the background about 5 seconds ago. Yeah, drive along to here. Again, apologies, there might have been a tiny little footage glitch there, but drive through that yellow square and it just says garage discovered. There's also a fuel station, so pretty handy. And is that like a service area thing? I mean, at that point, well, it's kind of handy. Service area and fuel, you don't actually have to recover to the garage, which, for example, I've got like the Lo4f in my sideboard at the minute. Yeah, that's what she said. Just to recover, you know, I'd have to then get back out, like get a crane, load it back in. So being able to drive through like a service square, fix your truck and refuel it without having to recover to the garage is kind of handy. Yeah, as you can see, just worked out pretty nice though. I yeah, recovered the Lo4f, brand new, ready to go. And with the garage, you can go through your stored vehicles and all that. It was saying garage slots, like you have to do a mission to unlock them. And it's making me think, has anybody ever actually genuinely used the garage slots? Like, I think once, ages ago, I probably put, it was like the 2 Land Rovers, I might have ended up putting them in the garage next to each other. And it was just laziness really, that I could have just spawned them both outside the garage and looked at them. But yeah, other than that, garage slots are pretty redundant for the most part, or unless it's just, I don't know, I don't use them, I don't really see any particular gain to doing so. And then yeah, some other one to unlock the truck store as well. It'd be nice, I mean, if they're going to keep doing American/Canadian maps, which I don't mind, I'm fine with that, but I just wish they'd by now just let us buy every truck from the trailer store, the truck store, sorry, instead of keep having to travel to Russian maps just to get Russian trucks. And yeah, this last one, I mean, looking on the map now, thankfully there is a cliff edge, but it basically starts and ends kind of like either side of it. And the trees don't look too dense either, so most situations I'd happily just send the Lo4f up there, but since it was the last watchtower, I thought we'll give it a go. We'll try and squeeze the Tayga through these trees. And yeah, as you can see, it was actually pretty fair to finish it off. Oh wow, if I went clockwise doing the watchtowers, this wouldn't be the last one. Well, even going anti-clockwise, it wasn't supposed to be the last one. It only ended up being that way because the lake's in the way, so I kind of did like a big horseshoe shape around the map, I suppose. Goddamn horse. And yeah, this is the map. Like, there's the gateway, sort of the bottom middle. There's stuck truck, so it's pretty close to the gateway really. That's the Mac defense. I ended up going this way round. I mean, you got a... And then, yeah, back down this way, looped round, went down here to those watchtowers, sort of up the middle, and then up there. At this point, you can see the top middle of the map is uncovered. I've already sent the Lo4f, you can kind of see. I'm in OG Lo4f at the minute at the dock. Yeah, like I say, you got a fuel station, you got a trailer store, there was a service area there. So yeah, overall, like, a nice map. There's quite a lot of stuff on it. But anyway, yeah, that's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Patreon members. Get yourself a Lo4f because he's a beast. I'll be back soon.